Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks for joining me today as I play with these goodies to create 4 Christmas cards. Today I'm having lots of fun stenciling and ink blending and using chiefly this Crafters Workshop 6x6 Christmas tree stencil. I bought it last year and I hope it's still available around the place for you. And I'm using a number of different mediums with the stencil each time, and I will let you know what they are as we go along. I'm also getting out my beloved distress inks and doing quite a bit of ink blending. It's been very popular with the likes of Giannis Makula, and I saw Debbie Hughes the other day doing a beautiful Christmas tree like this with a stenciling technique, and it just inspired me to get out my beautiful stencil and create 4 happy Christmas cards. So first of all, I've got the stencil laid down on a sort of a wood grain patterned paper here, and the medium that I'm using for my stenciling is Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Texture Paste, and it's in the colour of Decadent Teal. So on that wood grain paper, it's not, you know, deeply contrasting, but it just comes out quite beautifully, and once I ink blend around it, it looks really gorgeous. Next, I've just chosen a light blue cardstock, and for this one I'm using my Nuvo paste, and this is in the colour, let me just check, Tanzanite Lavender. So spreading that on with my palette knife, a little bit thicker this one, but gets a little bit gluggy in the bottle, I find, with the Nuvo Glimmer paste. Anyone else having that problem? I'd be interested to know. So anyway, I'm trying to get to the end of the bottle before it dries out, because I have had that happen before with one of these bottles. Gorgeous colour though. The purpley shimmer is really beautiful, and it's on that light blue cardstock. So you must wash your stencils off straight away, really important, because it doesn't take long to dry. Next I've got a nice blue, quite a vibrant cardstock. It's an old Stampin' Up colour, and I'm using another one of the Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Texture Pastes, and this one is Silver Moon. Spreading it on, it's a little bit more jelly-like, this one, so they all go on very easily. It's not difficult. Just spread it on like you're buttering a piece of toast, and make sure you've covered all the little grooves in the stencil. Try to keep it flat and not let any bits slide underneath, which does happen at times, but you can cover those with your sentiments later, so it's not too much of a hassle. And then moving on to my orange cardstock, and I've stuck down my stencil again, and this time I'm using a metallic gilding polish, which is also from Cosmic Shimmer, and it's in the colour of Indian Pink. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful product. Haven't used much of it, need to get it out more. I've also got it in gold, so I might have to do one in gold too. Right, so once they have all dried, I've got my glass mat and I'm doing my ink blending. I will list the colours each time so that you can check back and know what I'm using. 3 colours of ink blending on each card. So first of all, here I've got Broken China, and I do speed it up. I don't want it to be too laborious for you. It takes me about 10 minutes to ink blend each card. So I start with the light colour and I build that up and gradually build it into just around the edge of the stenciled Christmas tree, and then I move on to the second colour, which in this case is Faded Jeans, and they're all distress inks, not oxides, just the originals. And Faded Jeans I stick more to the outside and I don't go in as close to the tree. And then the third colour I really do just put around the outside each time, just to give you that darker contrast. So using the faded jeans just right along the edge now, just back and forth. I've sped this up quite a bit because, as I said, I don't want you to have to watch 10 minutes of me ink blending. I'm pretty sure you've seen that before. Broken china, back to that again, and getting a bit more around the card and just blending it into the faded jeans. And don't you hate that? See the splotch there where I forgot to dab off on my paper? Oh, so annoying. But by the time I go back over it and back and forth a little bit, it's not as noticeable, thankfully, because I was a little bit cranky about that. Back to the faded jeans around the outside again, just building up that depth in the colours so that the tree really does sort of shine and pop out from the centre. And the third colour I'm using for this card is chipped sapphire, and I've grabbed that one now and just adding right around the edge. Don't forget to tap off. It certainly prevents you getting those darker splotches, and it's just a slow process, it really is. I have not been ink blending much lately, and it used to be something I did all the time. So when I saw Jana Smekula doing a lot of ink blending on coloured card, it really inspired me to get back into my beloved ink blending, and I've thoroughly enjoyed making these cards. So we're on to the wood grain paper now. This is just a pattern paper, so it's not very thick. I have to be careful that I don't bend it as I blend. But starting off with the first colour on this one, and it is Mermaid Lagoon, and that's the colour that I will take in closest to the tree. And then we've got Salty Ocean right around the outside with the Salty Ocean, back and forth, building it up layer by layer, tapping off on my paper each time. And then the third and darkest colour is Blueprint Sketch. Just building that up right around the outside for that extra depth. And as you would have seen with the last card, you then go back through, if needed, through the other colours just to get your blends. That's what I'm doing now. See, back to Mermaid Lagoon, blending that into the Blueprint Sketch, and quite possibly Salty Ocean. I could have got that out again too and just did a bit more blending, but I was quite happy with the way it was looking. Onto the silver tree, and I'm starting with Wilted Violet here. So Wilted Violet is my first colour that I will blend right in closest to the tree. And it's just a matter of moving it around and around and around. The glass mat was good for this. I've had this glass mat for so many years. It's easy to clean off in between just with a baby wipe, and very handy not getting it all over my pink mat that way as well. Right, so after the Wilted Violet, I've moved on to Dusty Concord, and then my deepest, darkest colour is Seedless Preserves, and that's what you can see me using now. And it just turns out beautifully, that one. Really, the tree really does pop. And I love the orange and pink too. Thought of you, Therese, when I did this. She loves her orange and pink, that girl. So it's a lovely combination, that's for sure. Always got a nice little zing to it. So the colours for this one are Spun Sugar, Picked Raspberry and Seedless Preserves. So I'm onto the Picked Raspberry here, adding some depth in the corners and around the edges. And then you'll see me move on to Seedless Preserves right now, just to build some extra contrast right around that edge. And the tree just looks like it's glowing in the centre. It's really quite beautiful. Wipe my mat off, and here are the 4 card fronts all ready to go. You can see how they all look beside each other. And then it was just a matter of adding them to a white card base, stamping my sentiments. They're all from Lawn Fawn sets, and I stamped them in the darkest ink that I had used for the blending. So on each card, whichever ink I blended with for just around the edges, that's what I stamped in. And it was a lovely contrast. You can add the little sentiments to cover any splooshy bits that didn't quite stencil as perfectly as you might like. And as you can see, with a star on the top and your sentiment, your cards are complete and ready to give this Christmas. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you again soon.